All right, hello everyone. Welcome. We have another Workforce Wednesday in store for you. Today I'm here with Mary Angela and Ryan from Cintas. They have a lot of really great career opportunities for our area. So we're going to chat with them and learn a little bit more about what they have to offer. So hi, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to the opportunity to explain what we do here.
Yes, you do something very interesting for our community. So tell us a little bit about Cintas, its history in the area, and what you do.
Sure. Actually, I'll start out with a little bit of the history. So Cintas was actually founded during the Great Depression. So our founder, whose name is Doc Farmer, he would actually go from business to business collecting the old, dirty, oily rags. He would take them home and launder them by hand and then resell them back to the companies. And they used them for such things as cleaning machinery and that. So, he found a niche market there where they would just throw them out and then buy new ones. So he just went, picked them up, laundered them, and then he would bring them back. And the company grew from there. Then in the 70s is when it actually became Cintas. And so what we do basically is we supply a wide array of products and services, basically that enhances our customers' image and keeps their facilities safe and clean. So things like we supply what we do here is uniforms. So, from mom and pop stores to casinos to airplanes. So we supply uniforms to employees for other companies, as well as, we supply mats, we do restroom supplies, first aid and safety products, we do safety trainings, fire extinguisher trainings, things like that. And so it's a wide variety of products that we supply to make sure that our customers, are ready to go out and service their customers.
Wow, it seems like history is sort of repeating itself. You originated in very trying economic times, and now we're experiencing some trying economic times. And again, that resiliency is pulling through from your company. And you mentioned the word clean. That's not an understatement how important that is, your role in our community. So that's really great.
Yeah, and one of the things that we did during the pandemic is we supplied a lot of the gowns and scrubs that you saw, medical professionals using in the hospitals and the off-site facilities to keep their workers safe, while they were dealing with COVID patients. So
and they were able to get the hand sanitizer
right.
that they needed to our customers.
Get that and provide these other facilities with cleaning supplies and things that they needed to keep their employees safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, without you, none of us could have kept working throughout this whole entire time. That's great. So tell us a little bit about Cintas's company culture. You mentioned that you started during the Great Depression, so I'm sure there's really interesting values and priorities and energy that you guys have.
Right. Absolutely. Honesty, integrity is something that are big tenets of our culture. Sense of urgency, positive discontent, and what I mean by that is not keeping with the status quo, always looking for ideas that could benefit not only our employees but our customers. Many of the things that we do out on our production floor are ideas that were taken from our frontline workers. So we're always looking for better ideas, and it's all about exceeding our customers' expectations. If we can do that, then we could supply long-term opportunities for our frontline employees, and whether it be a growth opportunity, long-term career opportunities, just being able to exceed expectations. We could provide those opportunities and set our employees up to be successful.
I love how you talk about that exceeding expectations, not just for your customers, but for your employees. They're going to enjoy the work that they do on a daily basis and make sure that they have a fulfilling, meaningful career and not just that stereotypical dead end job that we might think of when we think of logistics or manufacturing or anything like that. So what you just said there about exceeding expectations is super important.
Right. Yeah. And, we think of our employees as customers. I mean, they're our customers as well. So we want to make sure they're successful, because if they're successful, then the whole company is going to be successful.
Right. Absolutely. I could not agree more with that statement. So what types of positions are you hiring for today?
So we have several open positions. I'll name some, and then Mary, if you want to fill in some of the details, but we have a garment processor, which basically is you're making alterations to uniforms. So we're a distribution center. We have all brand new uniforms. We don't deal with any of the soiled uniforms that are rental division. They're the ones that actually go out and pick them up and launder them. We're the ones that supply them. So garment processor, basically they hem pants to size. They put on emblems on uniforms, whether it be by sewing them on or heat sealing, which is basically on the back of the emblems is glue, and they get pressed onto the uniforms. So that's sort of what the garment processor does. We also have picking positions open, which basically you would take an order and a cart and you would go throughout the facility and pick garments. And once you fill the cart up, you would bring them up to our special operations or our garment processing area to be altered. We also have warehouse associate positions, which is, your basic warehouse, forklift operating, loading, unloading trucks, stock pick areas, right? Cycle counting, different things like that, taking inbound trucks in, outbound trucks on a daily basis. We have a maintenance tech 1 position open, which is basically an entry-level maintenance position. That's for second shift. Our second shift runs 3 to 11, and then on the backside, if we were running overtime, that runs till 1 a.m. And we also have we call it ESU. It's called emblem setup, but basically what it is you're putting the orders together. So when our orders come in on a daily basis, we have a scheduler who will schedule those orders. Then it goes to the emblem setup department where they put all those orders together. They'll take what we have, an order advice, we call it, which is just basically what needs to get done to those garments. And then if there's any emblems that go with it, they'll put them in there. We barcode everything. That's how we keep track of the uniforms. So they'll put the barcodes in there and then they place them on the shelf. And that's where our pickers go to get them and pick them to be placed into our garment processing area. Right.
Mary Angela, it's kind of hard to hear you.
Sorry. Because I'm farther away. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
one of the ESU position actually starts the process and it follows through all the way to the garment processors to where it goes out the door to our rental locations. So most of our customers are our rental locations because we're supplying them with what they need to take out to the customers and drop off and deliver to them. So.
Right. And I love how both of you described that process from start to finish. So it seems like you have careers available through every step of the process, regardless of where you might want to be.
Yes, yeah, and each department is integral. If one fails, then it affects all the other departments. So they're all, critically important to making sure, like we were saying before, we can exceed our customers' expectations and each other as well, making sure we're getting stuff in a timely manner to each other, setting each other up for success.
Right. And what you just said there about everybody sort of relying on each other. A lot of job seekers want to make sure that they have a career with meaning, responsibility, something that, has accountability to it, that's impactful and has a purpose. So knowing that all of your team members work so closely together and are so integrated in that, hey, everybody else is really counting on me, really adds to the career opportunities and the meaningfulness of the jobs you provide.
Environment as well. We do have a lot of people that cross train in all the departments so that way they have the opportunity to know what it feels like to be on the other side as well. So
and it helps with career advancement and development opportunities, because the more you know, the better situated you are for when supervisory positions come up, management positions. Like I said, we like to promote from within. I like to make sure that we're developing employees because it's a lot better to know someone that came up through the system and you know what they're capable of than actually going out and try. Not that we haven't gone out and found people from outside of the facility, but we would definitely prefer to promote from within.
Mhm. So can you talk a little bit more about those training opportunities while we're just on the topic of it? You said you cross-train with other departments. Is there potential to transition through positions or up within the employment hierarchy of Cintas?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an perfect example of that. So when I started with the company, I started as a trainee. So then I moved through several supervisory positions and ultimately ended up taking over as the distribution center manager. We've also had a temp that started here and is now running our Fort Worth, Dallas distribution center. And we've had several other frontline partners that have also taken over supervisory roles
Or into coordinator roles
or
as well.
coordinator roles. Yep. Yeah, so absolutely.
I love to hear those types of stories because they really, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, there's career advancement here. If you work hard, you'll get there. But to hear your stories and see, like Ryan, you are a perfect example of it, that, hey, this is real. It's not just the talk, it happens.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's a great culture here. Everybody, like I said, tries to work, help each other out, and opportunities come. Sometimes it seems like there's nothing. Then all of a sudden, bam, there's opportunities open up, coordinators positions open up. So we like to have people ready so they could step into those positions and roles, and be ready to go and contribute.
They also have that opportunity to move on to another division as well, if that's
Right.
something that they're looking for. So we do have a rental division that's close by. We do have an AR center that is near us as well, and a first aid and safety, yes. So there is other opportunities in the area if they're looking to try to, maybe move to a different division or such to get into a different role. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, get your foot in the door and really figure out what your thing is. I feel like a lot of job seekers might be worried that they're going to get pigeonholed into this one role, but knowing that they have the flexibility and are encouraged to explore and have the opportunity to really find what they feel their best fit is a really unique opportunity at Cintas.
And they have to voice that opinion too to us, like, what they're interested in. So like we do pass out papers to say, what are you interested in doing? Is there like, what do you want to do in the future? So we do that as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Knowing that you're open to having that conversation too is super important because I feel like a lot of people might be a little bit apprehensive to say like, hey, I like this role, but maybe I might be better somewhere else. So knowing that you're coming to them and they can come to you and say, hey, can I try this? Or can I do that? Or can you help me get to where this is where I want to be? Can you help me get there? Is really nice too.
Yeah, and one thing, I mean, we have an open door policy here, but most of our leadership roles, I don't even like to call them supervisory roles. I like to call them, because a supervisor, I consider a supervisor and a leader two different things. So I've worked in places where you never saw the supervisor or you never saw the distribution center manager, and I never liked that. So I don't want to create that culture here. So we're always out on the floor. We're always out working with the partners. I don't want to feel like I'm asking somebody to do something that I wouldn't be willing to do myself. And then when we're out there, they could come up to myself, to Mary, to our other leaders, and be able to talk to us on the floor or in the office. But I like to create that culture where they feel comfortable being able to talk to us and letting us know, what they like to do, even what they don't like to do, because there's all certain things that we're better at and certain things that we're not as good at. So we want to. We obviously want to play on our strengths, but we also want to work on those weaknesses as well. So if we could see those things and, we could get and take you and work on those things beforehand, when career opportunities do come up, we'll be ready to go then.
Oh, that's awesome. So going back to the jobs that you're hiring for, I know when you said garment processor, and you said skills like hemming pants or embroidery, I know I haven't touched a sewing machine since 7th grade home economics. So what type of training do you provide to your employees, and what types of skills and educational requirements are you expecting job seekers to come to the table with when they apply?
So I did not even realize they still had home ec in high school, but anyway, yeah. I was gonna say, I thought that went out in maybe the late 80s, but anyways, so it is a kind of a dying art, so to speak. This area at one time was huge with sewing. They used to call them sewing factories in the area, but it is something that is not widespread, or people don't do as much anymore. So as far as educational requirements, usually high school education or a GED equivalent. But as far as experience using a sewing machine, experience hemming, we teach all of that. You could basically come in here without any experience on that at all, and we teach all those skills necessary to run that equipment. Because it's sometimes we have people come in, and I know they see all the sewing equipment, and it's kind of a shock to them because you don't really see this kind of stuff anymore. But we train. We're not going to throw you out there to the wolves. We make sure that you get trained up in the different areas, how to use all the equipment in the garment processing area. Probably the garment processing area, the training portion of it, I would say, is probably
That's probably the longest.
the long.
Yeah, because I think that is something that we go through different seasons, so you may not see everything until we hit like a whole year here. Depending on what season you start in. So that's definitely something. We also have a try-it program, so they could come in and they have the opportunity to work 4 hours in our area that they would be applying for. So they kind of get a feel of what it's like, and they do work with a partner, so they can walk through the process of what they do every day. So
That is so unique. I've never heard of something like that before, that you could try. I love that.
it does really help because it gives you a picture of what you're going to be doing. I think a lot of times you can talk about it, but actually hands-on doing it is different. So
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people, I mean, myself included, don't really know what I'm going to like or enjoy unless I physically try it or do it myself as a hands-on learner. So I'm sure that program is super beneficial for a lot of individuals.
it's definitely been working out, especially, for the garment processing. It gives them a good picture of what it's like. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if it's a candidate, say they apply to one requisition and we bring them in and maybe they're not a good fit for garment processing, like you said, we have several other open positions. We take them on tours of any candidates, we take on tours of the facility, and that they can see what we do here. We give them an explanation of what each department does while they're here. So, maybe if that's something they're not interested, maybe a warehouse position, maybe a picking position. So.
And I do have that conversation with people when I
Right.
do a telephone screening. If it's something that they decide that they're not interested in, then maybe we can go ahead and, try this other position if that would be something that they'd be interested in. So.
Yeah, and I love that the experience that you're putting out for the candidates is a two-way street, right? You're figuring out if that candidate is a good fit for Cintas, and the candidate is also figuring out if Cintas is a good fit for them.
Correct.
Well, we want to start out, we want to put people in positions where they're going to be successful. We want to make sure that, first of all, it's something that you're interested in. And second of all, it's something that is mutually beneficial for both us and the candidate. And obviously, we don't want to set unrealistic expectations. We want to make sure that we could bring somebody in and they could get a good start with the company and a good experience.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we have a question in the chat. They want to know where somebody can go to find out more information if they're interested in applying.
So if they go to cintas.jobs, that's going to be the easiest, and you could search by zip code. Whatever zip code they're in, they'd give them the closest positions that would be available in that area.
Mm-hmm. Great. And so just going off of that, can you tell us a little bit about your application process and your interview process?
You want me to take that one, or you want to go? All right, I'll start. So
Okay.
we do have we have a thorough interviewing process. We actually start with the phone screening, and then we usually do 2 in-depth interviews. That would be maybe now in the time of COVID, maybe like a Teams call.
Yeah,
or,
so I think the first one we've been trying to do as teams, and then we do have them coming to do a job tryout. So then that second one would be on site as well. And so that's something that's a little bit different now. And even doing tours through the facility, we've been kind of having a hard time doing that as well, just because of everything that's been going on. We did have there was a point where we weren't sure about doing the tryout program, but now we are doing that again at this point. So.
Right, and we have like plexiglass barriers up. So you know, when COVID started here, I mean, it's been, you know, difficult, I'm sure, on all businesses, but you know, we wanted to make sure that we provide the safest environment possible. We're already a member of OSHA's Voluntary Protection Program, which is basically the highest award OSHA gives out for safety. So every 3 to 5 years they come in, and basically what it's saying is that we're going above and beyond what's required to make sure we're keeping our employees safe. So they come in, they go through all our records every 3 to 5 years. They interview all of our employee partners, just to get a feel of you know, how the facilities run, you know, making sure that the partners feel that we're concerned about safety and all their concerns are met as well, making sure our management systems are in place that address safety concerns. So we already had a good start with safety. And then when COVID came in, we have a corporate safety team, and they basically wrote a whole program based on the CDC guidelines and individual state requirements, because each state was different, and you know how they followed those guidelines. But you know, they sent that to us, and then we were required to follow those guidelines. So like even with the tryout program, if we brought somebody into, I mean, we had to minimize the amount of people we had in the building, but with the tryout program, like we would have plexiglass screening. Screening, I should say plexiglass, because that wouldn't work with the screening, but we had plexiglass up. And so anything, all of our machinery, we moved 6 feet apart, stuff that we couldn't move 6 feet apart. We put plexiglass barriers up. We moved the brakes around, so you know, we split them up differently, so we minimized the amount of employees that were in break rooms or the bathrooms at any given time. You know, all the enhanced cleaning program we did, which was basically cleaning numerous amounts of times during the day. Like I said, we have safety products already. We supply safety supplies, so we were able to give each of our employees an antibacterial soap that not only could they use here, but it was theirs to take home and keep at the house. You know, we encouraged them to clean as much as they felt safe and necessary in there. So yeah, we're trying to do everything to make sure that they feel safe, but also to have any candidates that want to come in, you know, to try to keep the process as normal as possible.
We do a background check, and we do drug screenings for all of our, once they go to that offer stage, that is where the process goes to that point. And then, you know, when that comes back, then we do set up an orientation date and start on that day as well.
Great. So I love how you talked about everything that you're doing to try to balance the candidate experience through the interview and the application process, but also making sure you're keeping your current employees safe on the floor. You did a really great job at telling us about the safety precautions that you've done during COVID. And again, that just is a testament again to the commitment that you have to your current employees and their safety and their health first and foremost. And again, that resiliency of Cintas that you've shown throughout the history of your company and your company culture, Ryan, that you were talking about, and how you develop that your employees are important. So that was really great. That was a really great answer. So just to start wrapping things up, I wanted to ask, is there any information that you can tell us about your wages and your benefit packages at Cintas?
So one thing is we do have a great medical package, and we do have dental and vision as well. So for a single employee, the cost is under $50 a week. We are paid weekly, so that's another thing as well. We do have a temperature controlled environment, so we do have air conditioning, we do have heat. A lot of warehouses don't have that. Mm-hmm. We start off in the mid-teens and go up, and it would be right now we're going to be doing a higher on bonus, and there's circumstances that, you know, would qualify you or not, and that'll be starting as of this week. It was going to be so.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, love that. That temperature control, super important.
Yes.
I know I'm always cold and wearing a
Yes, it
sweater,
is.
so.
It is. We also do a lot of employee activities and engagement and endearment. We eat a lot here. We supply a lot of food. We have summer, before COVID hit, we had summer picnics, Christmas parties, a lot of in-house lunches we provide. We have a spirit week, we have a safety week, just different. We do a lot of monthly, we sponsor different charities. So we do different things for that. But a lot of involvement in the community, and our employees make suggestions, and we'll take those suggestions, and on a monthly basis, maybe we'll support those charities that they bring up. So
I saw that somebody asked where's the location. We're actually in Oliphant, and it's right off of Route 6.
Great. Okay, so we've covered a lot of information today. I know you said you do the background checks in your hiring process. A question in the chat wants to know if you're open to second chance hiring. Is that an option at Cintas?
It depends on what it is. They do have some restrictions on that, but we have, depending on what the actual misdemeanor would be, then it would be dependent on that.
Awesome. So before we sign off today, is there anything else that you would like job seekers to know about working for Cintas? Something unique? We covered a lot of really cool and unique qualities of Cintas as an employer. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we have a family-like atmosphere here. Everybody works together to make sure that we maintain a safe environment, and also make sure that we set each other up for success. I mean, obviously with any family, sometimes you have some disagreements, but those things get us through and make us better. And, like I said, placing each other in a position to where we could succeed ourselves and supply our customers with the best products and services. And then in turn, it provides, an endless amount of opportunities for us here, job growth, again, career development, and just being able to keep adding more and more people to our facility, and being able to provide more jobs for the area in general.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Great. Thank you so much to both of you for sitting down to have this conversation with me this afternoon. I really learned a lot about Cintas that I did not know before. A lot of great stuff that really makes you Cintas an employer of choice. And I can really see how much you both love your jobs. And I'm sure that carries over, like you said, throughout the whole entire company culture. So I really appreciate you taking the time to tell us all of this information, and I'm sure you'll get some really great candidate applications after that.
Super excited about that.
Definitely.
I'll be looking for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week.
All right,
You too.
thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.